Okay, I've got some video there. I'm starting way early today, and the reason is I have a faculty meeting I have to go to, so I am starting about noon. And there will be some of you who will join, and when you do, don't worry about it. You just catch it on the back end. And I'm going to try and get in a hour and 15 minutes today. So that the game plan for that is I know I'm 30 minutes early, but and you can join then, of course, scroll back and at the start to see what all that you've missed. And today we're going to be working on outer joins over in chapter 14 in the Patrick text, and that's chapter 14. It covers outer joins. Now, what I wanted to make certain that we understood is that as we are talking about joins, okay, we started with inner joins, okay, that inner joins enable us to link up two tables, okay, and on a matching record. And the typical way that occurs is we have one table that has designates a primary key, say customer ID, and then there will be, and it says the table of customers, and then you have a table which is a dimension table, and then you have a table of a fact table of sales, and in that fact table you have the customer ID. Well, to know what customer bought what, it's simple. And if you want to add in the descriptive data about the customer, maybe where they're located or something like that, okay, then boom, you have that primary key embedded in that other table as a foreign key, okay. And a foreign key is simple. It's a primary key in one table, but it's just a regular key or regular field in another, okay. And that's how you link the two tables and you link those tables together, and then you get the inner join. Now, when we do outer joins, which is what we're going to talk about here in chapter 14, okay, the outer joins basically are a way for me to get the records from one set, all of the records, and then those that match from a different set, okay? Now, the book has some good explanations of that, and I would certainly encourage you to take a look at that. Before we do that, I want to do this. I want to go out and pop out and take a look on practical use of joins, and I'm just doing this called practical use of joins, okay? And you're going to see SQL joins explained. This is you can see I've been to a couple of places here. I would recommend these places, okay? And they show us good examples of where the outer join is used, the inner join, and the power of the cross join. So there's a lot of information out there, okay? Now, I did this, and let's see. Let's click on videos, practical use of joins, okay? And then you can see there's just tons of stuff. This is over lynda.com, whoever that is. Here is a 9-minute, 8-minute video on YouTube. Here's a 20-minute view, a YouTube uploaded. Here's complex joins in Tableau. They talk about that. And advanced SQL in YouTube. The left, some disconnect, some distinct, etc. So there are some real practical reasons. In general, it's if I want all the records in, and imagine you have and I hesitate to try to do an annotation here. I'm going to take a stab at it. This may be a total disaster, okay? And I got a feeling it's going to be that way. It's either not enabled or I don't know what to do with it. But I think I'm supposed to have a document up or something like that. So let's click on the annotation. And I guess let's pull up, let me pull this up, dock up here. I'm gonna have to turn this back into a mouse before I can do anything. All right, and we'll open this up here. Now let me try to annotate for us. Okay, and it's not going to play nice with me, is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, and I want to annotate. There's the tool. Now I don't want the spotlight. I'm going to draw, and this is going to be crude, folks. I understand. And here is set A, okay? And here is set B. Isn't this beautiful? Now, let's say this is customers. I'm going to call it customer, and this is orders. See how beautifully I do this? Oh, let me erase this nasty stuff right here. Well, I'm supposed to be able to find it's just my cursor. This is one of the problems we have with this. I'm gonna just start over here. But this, let's call this orders. I know you're getting some comic relief out of this. All right, so we have two tables here. Let me just write it out here, orders. I'm gonna have to practice up on this. Okay, now, this is a dimension table, okay, it's customers. All right, and I'm gonna kill that off. And here, this customer, it has, you know, their name, their address, that dimensions, you know, because this is a dimension table. Here's a fact table that lists the product ID, when it was sold, etc. And we have customer ID buried over here. The customer ID is the primary key here, and we have it buried over here. And that way we can link the two tables. Now we can have some strategies, and I'm going to go back into the world of annotating. Okay, and I'm going to draw. In fact, let me just invoke the eraser for a minute. Thank you for indulging me with this. Let me do this where it looks fairly decent. And I'm experimenting on you. I know you must be just some of you are probably going, huh? What's he done? I know. I understand. So we get that all erased, and I'm going to go back to the drawing tools, and I'm going to put in two circles. Here's a circle. Ooh, much nice, much prettier. And here's another circle. Okay, and I'll do the erase bit again. Now, I've drawn these. Now let's see. I'm experimenting. Okay, and I'm going to go to the. See, I'm going to go to I've got the spotlight. Now, I'm going to relate these two tables, and let me put some text up here. I'm going to click on text. and get the eraser off. I'm going to close this off. Okay. Now, and I'm going to put some text in here. And this will be, well, I'll just go ahead and annotate it some more. Why not? It's been a disaster so far. All right. And the spotlight, the eraser, to clear the drawing. And I'm going to draw. And we have this will be customers. There we go. All right. And then over here, I'm going to draw, do the text, and this will be orders. Okay. Now, and let me get the eraser, and I'll erase that one little nasty thing that's there beside the orders. Glad to have you here. Let me open this up for you. And Dalton and I had started about noon, and because I have some faculty meetings this afternoon, and so I'm going a little bit early. And then of course, you'll want to go double back. So thanks a lot. I'm in the doing some drawing stuff here, so we'll get. So thanks for being here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the text in here. And this will be orders. And we're talking about inner joins today. Pardon me, outer joins. And so we have two tables, if you will. We have the order table, we have the customers table, and of course, the customers has a primary key in it, and that would be the customer ID. And then we have an order over here. This would be an order ID, but we'd also have the customer IDs in here. This is a dimension table. This is a fact table. Now, when we talk about joins, okay, and I'm going to take the text off, and I'm going to do the draw, okay. When we talk about an outer and inner join, which we did last class session, what we do is we take the two of these and link them up where the record, where they have some identical record, okay, and that would be that would be that would be on, say, the customer ID and then which is used as a primary key over here in this left table or the parent table, and in the child table, customer ID is over here is just a field. The inner join allows us to match them where the records match up, and that's it. When we do an outer join, okay, we do something a little bit different, and what we're going to do is we're going to take everything, okay, in customers. If we do an outer join, pardon me, an outer join, a left outer join, we're getting everything in customers, and then just what matches in the orders. Now, if we do a right join, we'll get all of the orders, and we'll only get those customers who placed an order. Okay. Now, I'm going to close this off. All right, and I'm going to close this thing off, and I'm going to get rid of this. Now, I had given you guys, let me go back here and do the annotation again. And I'm going to get the eraser. And invoke it. All righty. And we'll close that off. and the annotation's off. Now, I just did a quick little search for all of you, and I just did practical use of joins. And there's some really, really good stuff. Now, junk like this, Lydia, it's okay. I'm not going to say that she's, I'm not going to say it's junk, okay? It's got some annotation in it that may not appeal to you. Now, I would say that this is probably the very best, the stuff you'll get from YouTube, okay? And it's another one of those calls, sales call deal. But so there are some resources out there for you to see, okay? And let me get the annotation back up here. I'm gonna get rid of that word order. So I'm having, we're having some big fun here. I'm gonna clear all drawing. Okay, was that off? And we're back. So there are, again, if you do just a search for practical use of joins, you'll see. Now the model again is an inner join is where I take two sets, or let's say two tables, I match them up on the basis of usually on the basis of an ID, okay, or it could be on a date, everything was sold on April 1st. A left-hand join is where we have everything in the left-hand table. We have all those records, and then we get from the right-hand table only those that match. And then the right-hand join, it's just the opposite. Now, the inner join is intuitively obvious. The other two are not, but they're important to understand because because they provide you some ways to cull through records, okay, and get everything that you need and be able to put stuff into context. So I would encourage all of you to go there and take a look. Now, I'm going to go back over here. Of course, we're down here at week 7, okay? And we're going to work on Lunch's database, Lunch's database 14, chapter 14. So we're working way ahead, all right? And I have some resources there for you. And I talked about those before with you, okay? And that's from 10/10, which is today, okay? And week 7. And now there are a couple of things, and these are not, you're not even seeing these. You shouldn't, because they're all in student. If you're seeing them, it's only because you're seeing what I've got over here in instructors, in the instructors piece. And I've got some resources for you, okay? And some conservation easement, pet finder, how to find your pet. So I got some nice practical applications, okay, of databases. Now let's go ahead and go over to the files section. All right, and we're going to go to that old familiar place, and we're going to find the Patrick materials. Okay, I don't know why I'm not. I just might as well put Patrick. Here I'm teaching you guys database, and I don't even use the search function myself. So yeah, I'm roundly. I'm a database hypocrite. Call me that. So let's download the Patrick materials. Okay, and we'll go through our usual thing. We've got the access code. We'll open that up, and we'll get the access code for chapter 14. I'm gonna take this and move it to my desktop. So I'm gonna have to diminish here for a sec, and you'll see my filthy, nasty desktop. So I'm gonna take crowded desktop. There's 14 is on there somewhere. I just stuck it there. I know that I did. Question is, where did it go? And that's a good question. So I've got let me see what we got going on. I guess I could just open it up. There's my SQL fun. I'll go ahead and open it up. Okay. I'm going to diminish it down for a minute. I'm going to take this text file and try one more value at a time. And I'll copy and replace it. Okay. So it's going to be down here somewhere. As you can see, I'm just completely disjointed today. All right. Now let me see if I can find it. Chapter 14. You probably see it before I do. This is my deal. Oh my goodness gracious. What am for? Here it is for chapter 14. Whoa, there we go. Now I can open this jewel up. So I've got my textbook, I've got my database, okay, and I'm ready to go. Now, over on page 519, and that's 14.1, we do an inner join, okay, and we'll take a look at that real quickly, all right, and I'm going to select. And this is 14.1. This is as a selection from dual. Dual, when he says dual, what he's talking about is Oracle and Access code. And what we've done here is something familiar. Just to remind you, we're using pseudonyms for these tables A and B, and we have to identify table A and B. And table A is 2s, and table B is 3s. Okay, and we're going to join these two where some type of number equals the other, and we're going to order them by number 2. Now they show you this, and this is an inner join, okay? And that's over on page 519. So let's copy this, okay? And we'll go ahead and we'll click create, all right? And then we'll click query design, and we'll close that out. Okay, I'm doing the SQL view, put this in, and I'm going to run the query. And there we are. We have number 2, word 2, number 3, and word 3. And basically, these are numbers and then their representation. But they want to show you how we've done it. Now, over on page 520, all right, he walks you through the beginning tables, the 2 table and the 3s table, and you can see it has the number and a word, a number and a word, number 3 and word 2, number 3 and word 3, okay? And we have some null values, and we see the result of the inner join, okay? Now, with the inner join, what we did is we filtered out a bunch of stuff we didn't want, and and he shows us there at the bottom of page 20, the rows that were dropped from the 2s and the rows that were dropped from the 3s. Okay, and typically what will happen is we will get a much smaller data set than we started with. So we're going to say this is 13.1. Okay, and I'm going to say this is 13.1, and we're good to go. Now, on at the bottom of page 520, at the top of page 521, okay, he starts to talk about the 3 types of outer joins. Now, I had mentioned the left outer join and the right outer join, okay, and then the full outer join adds back all the rows dropped from both sides, okay, and there's some difference between a full outer join and a union. And I know that when you look at this, you say, this sounds a lot like a union. Well, let's look what he does there in there at 521. He shows us a left outer join. It has all the rows from the first table. then a right outer join that has all the rows from the second table. And then he runs a full outer join, okay? And so he has them from both. Now, we're going to run some code to see these, all right? And we're going to start with the left outer join. That's going to be over here in our data file. We're going to go to 14.3, okay? We're going to select everything from table A, everything from table B. Twos is the table A. We have identified that. We identified B as the threes table, and we're invoking the left outer join, and we're doing it on A.number underscore 2 and B.number underscore 3. So we're matching them and on the basis of that equivalence, and then we're going to order them by the number 2. So we're going to select this. This is 14.3, okay? And then we're just simply going to do create, query, design, the usual deal. And we'll go to the SQL view, put this in, and we'll run it. And there we get, this will be 13.3, so I want to save it as that. And I don't think he tells us to save it in any particular way. But, okay, as you can see, we've got the result table, that's the left outer join, and it's at the bottom of page 523. So we got everything out of the twos table and only that which matched from the threes table. And I always say, think about like customers as a dimension table and orders as a fact table. You could also think students, okay, and grades, okay? In a join has to have something that you're able to link the two tables. Then the type of join you use determines how selective you are. The most selective is the inner join, typically. The most, and then you have two other more selective, less selective joins, the left and the right, and it will depend on how many records are in either one of those. So we've done 13.3. Now, I will do a lot of talking in this for a very simple reason, okay? Conceptually, you have to if you understand the concept, then running the code is not that big of a deal, but you want to understand why you're doing. Now, the author's using some pretty simplistic examples, all right? And I understand that, and we should. But out in the real life, what's typical is that we have some dimension table with some primary key in it that we use to link into a fact table, and that's we might do that with dimensions, okay? Let's say you have two tables. One is the tables that are students that were admitted to OBU, and a second table, table B, the students who were not admitted to OBU, okay? And, you know, now you're not going to be able to find a search for, if you run an inner join, you won't be able to do it on the student ID, that's obvious. But if you do an inner join, you might be able to do it on their zip code or the high school they attended, okay? Now you start to kind of see, oh, I get it. And this is a way for us to cull information from multiple tables. That's why the join is such an important thing to understand and to see. Now, the truth is, okay, you're often going to be doing this and you won't even be thinking about it. You'll just know that I need all the records from the sales of 1999, for example, and then anybody who bought something from us in the year 2000 or something like that. That's why I referred you out to YouTube, say do a search out on YouTube, take a look. The book does a pretty good job of explaining outer joins, okay? And I know I am going a lot slower than I usually do, but the whole point is you do this understanding, you have a clear understanding of what you want, okay? And the what you want is going to be determined by the content. If I do an inner join, okay, what I'm really doing there in an inner join is saying, I really want to pare this down to just exactly what I want in terms of records. If I do a left outer join, I say I want all those records, and then that highly selective results of an inner join. If I do a right outer join, same story, just the opposite. And then, of course, they talk about the full outer join, okay, that adds back all the rows dropped from the tables, okay. Now, they're let's back up here for a minute. I messed this up. Okay, let's close these. Let's close all of these. Let's go down and find them in the queries. Okay, and we need to rename them because we're in chapter 14. Like a dummy, I label them as 13, and they should be 14. So let's go find them. There's 30. Yeah, that's actually. Let's open it up. Yeah, that's going to be. I'm just going to rename it, and I can do that. Okay, you're right. I can't rename it, so I'll close it. Now I can rename it. This is going to be 14-1, and this other right here will be 14-3. My apologies. We are in chapter 14. Okay, now then he gives us a right outer join. Okay, and this is going to be 14-4. And let's pull the code up for a minute and take a look at it. Now, we have the two tables, A and B, and we're going to invoke a right outer join from the threes, that is B. And again, we identify what each pseudo table A and B, and we're saying it's 2s is the A table, 3s is the B table. We're going to do a right outer join, which means we're going to get everything from B and only those records from A that match. Okay, so I'm going to copy that, and we'll do the usual business of create a query design, and my machine decided to go kablooey on home. It just decided to freeze up for some weird reason. And this has not been my best week in tech. I have really been put through the paces with some things. And I'm not sure why this is not working. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm going to close that off and then open it back up. Create, query design. There we go. Maybe it's me. Lord, yeah, I hope not. We'll go to SQL and we'll put that in and we'll run it. And there's 14-4, and we'll save it as 14-4. Now, let's talk about this for just a moment, but let's do it in terms of the design view. Now, here are the two tables with their pseudonyms A and B. Okay, and usually you can tell which side an outer join is by how they order a result set. And typically, if it's a left outer join, you'll see the sorting will occur in it. If it's a right join, it will occur in the right join. okay? And they show us there at the bottom, page 525, the beginning tables, okay? And then the result table, which is the right outer join, which means we got everything from the threes table, and we got the stuff from the twos table that matches, okay? And that's again, it's a matter of what you're after and what you're trying to achieve. Now, the full outer join is over there on page 526 and 527, and the at the bottom of page 527, he shows you some code, okay, that will do a full outer join. However, okay, that is not, and that's 14.5, and it's not in the code, okay? What our friend allowed us, what he shows you there is the Oracle SQL, which will not work. The Access SQL is there, and you would have to write it out. So if you look at the bottom of page 527, let's talk about what you're doing there. We're selecting everything from A and everything from B, no big deal there. And we've identified that table A is actually the twos table. We've identified that the B is actually threes, and we do a left outer join. So we're going to get everything out of A and only that stuff from B that matches. Then we're going to declare a union, okay? And we're going to select C and D. Now this is where you start to see why this is such an incredibly powerful tool. C and D, okay? And the twos table becomes C, and the three tables becomes D. And this time we do a right outer join. Okay, and notice that the only difference in the only difference is we rename the tables, but notice we do the right outer join, and here we're getting on C underscore 2 and D underscore 3. It's not in the text file, okay? So you'd have to type that all in. And I don't want you to spend your time. I think if you understand how it's done, okay, and what's going on and why we're getting that, I think you've got it. And so they show us the beginning tables, twos and threes table. There's a lot of notes for us here. Now, starting over on page 529, he talks about the union, okay, and a union, and he basically says, he gives us the verbiage, okay. Now, when we do a union, duplicate rows are eliminated, okay. So if we have duplicates, the union, we will keep one record, and then we'll get rid of any others. Okay. Now he talks about that in and then near the bottom of page 521, he mentions the fact that we put the union between the joins, and that's where we get that full outer join, because we're getting the right join and the left. The right join will give us a new unique set. The left join will give us a new unique set, and we combine those two new unique sets into a third set. See, this is why this is such, if you understand how, you don't even have to understand writing the code, but if you say, okay, I get it. I'm able to string together dimensions or attributional data about my customers, etc. I'm also able to get fact data, financial transactions, when people logged in, stuff I can count, etc. I can string together tons and tons and tons of tables. There really is no limit to what you could do. Okay, that's when you really are able to cull through all your data and take that analytic cue we've talked about and really use it and use it to its most effective point. Now, over on page 530, and you'll notice I'm using the book a lot. And I'll tell you, if you watch this and you don't have the book with you, you're wasting your time. If you have your book with you, that's good. It's good for you to do. And now we're looking at here at, we've got tables A and B, okay? And then they're combined into one table. You see that, okay? This, he says, is the process of forming a union. And then the duplicate rows are eliminated. And he shows us a select statement for that preceding diagram. We're going to select everything from A. We're going to select everything from B. And we're going to invoke a union, which means we'll get everything. And if there are any duplicates, we get rid of them. Okay? Now, he shows us some other procedures in terms of doing this, and is those different steps there. 14.7, okay, invokes a union, and it's a little more explicit, and we'll see this at the bottom of page 532. So let's go down here to 14.7. We're going to copy all that, okay? And then we'll come over here and we'll click Create, Query Design, and we'll close it off, and we'll go to SQL View, and we'll run it. Now, there's the result set that we get at the bottom, okay? Now let's go in, and we're going to call it, and this will be 14.7, so we'll save it as 14-7. And let's look at this for just a minute. I'm going to close this. Now, let's go down and look at the SQL view, okay? Here we, and this is also in the book, we're selecting A.1. So the table, section 1407 _ first is table A, and then we do a union, okay, where second, okay, is table B. So we've done the select. We even, up here, we even utilize a column alias and order them. And let's go back up and take a look. And there we are. That's that, and we've gotten rid of the duplicates. Now, over on page 14, okay, he walks us through on query 14.8. He has us use an application of our join counting to zeros, okay, doing some counts. So we're going to close this off, and we'll come over here and we'll get 14.8. Okay, and we're going to click Query Design, close. We're going to have the SQL view, excuse me, and we're going to run it. And that's going to be 14. We're going to say this as 14-8. Now, Now what we've done is we have just expanded on the select statement, okay? Add in, some more fields. Earlier, we were more selective in the fields that we're after. Then we put in the count, and then we identify the table. Then we do a left outer join, okay? And we come down, and we order by employee ID, and we have them counting to 0. And we count, and this is how we count the number of lunches they're going to attend. Okay. Let's look at it for a moment in the design view, and you'll see. They're grouped by employee's ID, the first name, last name, and number of lunches. And we're going to get the count here. I'll go back and take a look at the SQL itself. And that's pretty much all there is in terms of what he's after there in 14A. Okay. Now, (14.9) is at the top of page 537. Now, it's not in the textbook. I'm going to close this off. Okay. And if you look in the text files, you're not going to find 14.9. Well, maybe you will. Yeah, this is in the text file. I thought it wasn't, but it is. So we're going to select everything from A. Then these are the fields we'll get from B. And then we're going to invoke a column alias. And we're identifying lunches as B table. Okay. And what we don't have here is we don't have the from. Yeah, we do. The from the employees. So we've identified employees table. And so we do have it. Let's pop it in here. I'd made a note to myself that it wasn't in here, but let's pop it in and see what will happen. Okay. And there we have everything. Now, what I noted is that as I went through and I looked at these, I said, okay, the employee ID, that's from both tables. The last name is from both tables. You'll define the department code is in table A. You'll find the hire date is in table A. The credit limit is found in table A. The phone number is in table B. The manager the manager ID is found in table B. The lunch ID is found in table B. The lunch date is found in table B, and the employee ID is found in table B. And so it gives us the 18 rows, gives us all columns, all the data from both. But I wanted to make a point, and I went back and just looked at the query and said, okay, where's the employee ID come from, etc. So you could see how we've got these all combined, right? And now notice we also did the join by making sure that the employee ID, okay, and we matched them on employee ID. We'll save this as 14-9. And we'll close that off. Now, let me, you've got a chat question here? Okay, thanks a lot. You too. And I am going over a little bit today, getting in our full hour and 15 minutes. I started this back at noon, so I'm going to go ahead and go. And again, folks, I see that there's only one person who joined me today. It's a virtual Tuesday, so I got you. I'm with you there. I understand, and that's okay. As long as you produce the work and you get the results, I'm good to go. And I'm going to close this. Now, over on page 538, they show you another example of what we've done in 14.9. Then a full outer join, page 539, in sorted order. Okay, and he shows this there on 540. Okay, in a sorted order. And let's look at 1410. I think this is what this is. And 1410, I don't believe it's the same as what he's got in the book. Where it's like A, B. The NV, of course, means no nulls. Yeah. That doesn't match it up there, and I'm not sure what he was thinking of. So you're going to have to do some copy and paste and inserting some code. My advice to you would be just write the code right there from the book. And let's talk about what we're doing there, okay? We have a beginning table of 2s, a beginning table of 3s. And then we get the result table. And what we're doing is, okay, we're using a full outer join, and then we're sorting them. You say, how are we sorting them? We order them by sort order. That's that very last line. And that's a sort order is a column. Okay. And that gets that accomplished. 1411 walks us through finding the defects in a pattern. Okay. And we look for something that might be null. We look for something that might be too large, too small. And they give us a beginning table there in page 543 and then a result table. He says some of the missing numbers, fewer repeated. This is probably going to be the most useful for you if you're wanting to make sure that you don't have any missing IDs for employee, if you don't have any missing fact rows or records. Okay, now we'll take it and we're gonna A.N, B.N, and we're going to count B.N from the numbers table. And we identify that as A. Then the section 1411 underscore number, that's table B. Okay, and we're going to do that left join on A.N equals B.N. And then we're going to group, and we're going to use the having not and order it. And it shows us the result set there. 14.2, he shows us a way that we can compare two tables to find any rows in one table that are not in another. He gives us some comparisons of comparing two different outer joins. None of this is in the text files, okay? And we can go down here 14.3, you can see for yourself, okay? Because you really have two different queries that you're running. This is page 547. You have that first full outer join, and you'll see that syntax, and then the second full outer join. And then it shows you the beginning tables, fruits and colors, okay? And what we get using those combinations. Okay, these are going to be the kinds of things. And again, he gives us some more of these types of queries. They're not over in the text file. That I think are helpful, but for all intents and purposes, maybe not exactly all that useful. He concludes the chapter 14 with some key points, okay, and talking about them, and gives us just basically a little summary. Okay, now, like I said, there are going to be numbers. You're going to be running a lot of outer joins. You're going to be doing it all the time. Rarely will you run a full inner join. If you say, well, Dr. Harmon, is it more likely for me to be doing a left outer join versus a right outer join when I'm out there in practice? I don't. My hunch would be, I guess if you want to say that the parent tables will always be some type of dimension table, and the child tables will usually be a fact table, then I'd say, yeah, okay, that's probably going to be the case. Because if you think about it, we don't have a fact till we have a dimension. We don't have a fact till we have a measure. That is something that happened, something I can count, multiply, divide. Okay? And so you're going to be most likely to work where the parent table is a dimension or an attribute, or say a factor, if you will. On the other hand, you'll be working with a fact table, which will be the right-hand table, which will list, all the sales, for example, for the past year. That type of table is a fact table. Now, if you want to know how many sales you made to company A is probably over in a customer's a customer's table or some type. Okay, so you can see how we've gone on and we've built to the point now where we're grabbing data from a whole table and joining in data from another table that matches. And so, and again, it's just, the book has some good examples. There's some good examples and explanations out there, especially out of YouTube, as I'd mentioned to you. Okay, and so you're going to be, as you can tell, I'm struggling to just avoid saying the simple truth. That is, you're going to be running a lot of left outer joins. Okay, because we tend to want lots of descriptive data around a fact. If I were just to say, for example, sales were 1,000 units, you'd want to ask you'd ask me the following question: when, who bought them, what units are you talking about? Is it a product from a product group? I might want to know that. What was its price, etc. And that's how you take just data and put it into context. As I've said before, information systems, information technology is all designed to be decision-centric. Okay? It's designed to be decision-centric. And because it is, it's going to focus a lot on decision types of variables, and that's typically going to be attributes, dimensions. Okay? So I would encourage you, do a read through of chapter 14. I think, we covered it, and the logic of it is what you want to understand. Okay? More than just writing some code by scratch, which the author appears to want to have to make you do. Okay? Now, it's about 1 o'clock, and I've been going since noon, so we've done a full, just about 60 minutes of instruction. Okay? And so we have a little bit of time here. So here is what I'm going to ask you to do. Okay? I'm going to diminish this. I'm going to go back out here. And I'd like you to go over here, okay, and take a look at some of these resources, okay? And that, I would say, would be constitute kind of like a guest lecture, okay? And you could see there's just tons and tons of stuff out there, okay? And some of it looks some of it's a little bit cheesy. I understand that, but I would say this looks like it's pretty good. This SQL, and then this definitely looks like this is good. You could usually look at the source, and then here's one from Advanced SQL YouTube. It's about 12 minutes. And I would encourage you to go out and take a look at it and to find. Once you see those practical uses of why I'd want all the records from one table and just a select set from another table, this all starts to come together. Intuitively, an intersection where I join two tables on the basis of matching IDs, or a union where I just throw everything in the pot and I get rid of anything that's a duplicate, make sense intuitively. The outer joins don't, until you understand that that typically in either outer join you typically will have, okay, dimensions on the left as the parent table, facts as the right table. Now that's not always true. You could have you could do a left or a right outer join on two dimension tables. Okay, if you've collected that much dimension data about somebody or something. And remember, dimensions are qualities or attributes or characteristics, whereas a fact table has stuff I can count, I can measure. Okay? So these are very powerful, very, very powerful tools. And I would also encourage, I'd say, let me encourage you to do this also. Complex joins in Tableau. That's about a 10-minute video. And I'd say, if you're saying, Dr. Harmon, is there any of these that you've seen right here? And you may not get the same result when you do that, okay? But you can see the screen. and you could do the search out in YouTube for complex outer joins in Tableau. I'd say go take a look at it, because it will introduce you to that software, which is attempting to bring in a database quality, a spreadsheet quality, and even mapping where it can work with geodata. Okay, and I'll give you an example. Well, here's a good example. I have a set of, I might have address, I might have number of people in homes, living in homes in a certain neighborhood, and the neighborhood and then characteristics of the neighborhood to be over in a parent table, and I link the two. I'll let you take a look at those again. We've gone till it's 1:03, so we've gone over an hour. So there's another 10 or 15 minutes you can use to learn some more about inner and outer joints. Folks, I appreciate your time. I know this is a virtual day, and I had one person who showed up, and thank you so much for showing up. I know the rest of you are going to be looking at this. I hope you are, because when I turn you loose and you have to go write these queries, it's going to be a hard row if you're just kind of ignoring them. And I put these here for a reason, okay? Trust me, I can and do check to see who actually looks at these, okay? And so it'd be worth your while to see how we're using them. Well, that's the lunches database 14. So what I would do is, if I were you, is I would save with the queries that we've created, save it as lunches database 14 or case 14, and upload it where it's supposed to be uploaded. And you say, where would that be? Well, let's go back over here to the syllabus area. This is have all these assignments listed. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to find lunches LD 14, upload here. You see, we are indeed working quite a bit ahead, but that's because, okay, you're going to be coming to some projects where I'm going to cut you loose, and we're going to see how you do. Okay, folks, thank you so much. And see, this is virtual Tuesday, so I'll be over there Thursday, and we'll go from there. Thanks a lot.